Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Education Board.
Hello students, welcome to TV learning program. My name is Benon. I will be taking Senior 1 students in biology. Dear Senior 1 students, you're most welcome in this lesson of biology. I request you the following. 1, to pay attention and follow all the steps of this lesson. Point number 2, get your pen and notebook so that you can note down key points of this lesson. Hope we are taking this journey together. Now, before we start our lesson, allow me ask you the following. Dear students, what do you see on these photos? You can see this one is a photo showing different things. What do you see there? What do you see here? What do you see here? And what do you see here? Excellent. We can see polythene bags. We can even see different paper bags and plastic bottles which are poorly disposed because you can see where they are. They are not supposed to be there. Point number 2, you can see this one is a factory or industry. And you can see it has chimneys which are producing a lot of fumes, gases, and so on. From there, allow me show you another photo. And I would like to know from you what you see from the photo. You see, here we have boys and girls. You can see here we have jerry cans. You can see here we have a car. Here we have a man. And then here we have a woman having a bicycle. Here we can see very many cows. In addition to that, you can see here we have a large water body which seems to be a lake. From these two photos, dear students, allow me ask you, what do you think is happening there? You can see these boys and girls are fetching water. Unfortunately, they are fetching water they are standing in. You can also see this man is washing this car, the car which is already in water. You can see this woman having a bicycle, and here we can see men and women standing in water. From the other photo we have seen first, we have seen poor disposal of garbage. Garbage. That means polythene bags, paper bags, and plastic bottles. From there, dear students, what do you think is happening that shouldn't be happening there? Excellent. We can see that there is pollution taking place. There is pollution taking place because we can see people standing in water of a very big water body, like a lake, people washing very big car in a lake, people fetching water in that lake, and we can even see cows which can urinate in that water, as well as releasing cow dung in water. So this is what we call pollution, like you have said. And do you think this is good? Do you think pollution is important according to the diagrams or photos you have seen? It's not. And we really have to take proper measures of stopping that. Our lesson today is from Unit 1, Biodiversity and Classification, and the lesson is pollution. Dear students, what do you understand when we talk about pollution? Very good answer. Pollution is the introduction of harmful materials into the environment. Like we have seen polythene papers, paper bags, plastic bottles being poorly disposed. That is pollution, because we have introduced harmful materials in the environment, materials which can harm water, soil, and so on. Or we can even say pollution is contamination of the environment. When cows are urinating in water, that means they are contaminating water. Because remember, in water, we have living organisms there. When we see people washing cows in a lake, that means they are contaminating water in the lake, and if they are contaminating water in the lake, they are also contaminating aquatic organisms, or organisms which live in that water. Sometimes we see young boys and girls swimming in a lake or a river. That means they are also contaminating water in that lake. So these harmful substances we have talked about, harmful materials, are called pollutants. Pollutants can be natural, such as volcanic ash. They can also be created by human activity, such as trash or runoff produced by factories. Pollutants damage the quality of air, water, and land. Like we have seen, plastic bottles will contaminate soil. Urine from cows will contaminate water. Washing a car from a water body will contaminate water. Fetching water while standing in it will contaminate that water. And finally, what happens? We destroy different plants and animals. That means biodiversity will be at a high risk. That means different plants and animals will be at a high risk of suffering from different diseases. So contamination of the environment is very bad. And when we contaminate the environment, that means we are contaminating air in the atmosphere, we are contaminating soil, which we need because we need different plants. We are also contaminating water where we have different aquatic organisms. From there, many things are useful to people produce pollution. Many things which are useful to people produce pollution. Cars release pollutants from their exhaust pipes. Of course, we are happy when we are moving in a car, but then this car causes pollution through exhaust pipe because there is production of harmful gases like sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, which pollute our environment. Burning coal to create electricity pollutes air. Industries and homes generate garbage, like we have seen paper bags, polythene bags, plastic bags, which we find in sewage and can pollute land and water. Pesticides. Remember, when we are planting crops, we spray pesticides so that our crops are not destroyed by different pests. So pesticide is a chemical which can cause harmful effects to plants and animals, as well as soil, leaking into waterways and harm wildlife. As you have seen, pollution is very dangerous. That's why we have to avoid it. Dear students, can you tell me different types of pollution? Different ways we contaminate our environment? Excellent. We have water pollution, like we have seen on the previous photo. We have noise pollution. We have soil pollution. We have radioactive pollution. Then we also have air pollution. In addition to this, we can also have light pollution. Those are different ways we pollute our environment. These are different types of pollution. Air pollution. Chemicals are released into air through harmful gases, burning of fuel, and other byproducts of modern life. Take an example, when we burn gasoline, diesel, and other petroleum products, there is production of harmful gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, nitric oxide, which are harmful to our environment because they contaminate our air. And remember, this air is the one we breathe so that we can get oxygen, which our body needs for respiration. Then from there, that means if we breathe in air which is contaminated, we are at high risk of suffering from respiratory diseases. Another type of pollution is land pollution, where waste materials produced by humans are left to accumulate on the Earth's surface. Many chemicals such as pesticides, fertilizers, are absorbed into the soil. Take an example, when we use pesticides to prevent pests from destroying our crops. When we use fertilizers, we put them in the soil purposely to increase productivity of our crops. That means we are putting chemicals in soil, and if we don't do this carefully, we end up contaminating land or soil. And this leads to what we call soil pollution or land pollution. And what happens, some organisms may end up dying or suffering from different diseases because of soil pollution, where we can use pesticides, fertilizers, or we can even poorly dispose garbage, like plastic bottles, I have said, paper bags and polythene bags. When they are poorly disposed, they contaminate our soil. We also have what we call noise pollution. Humans produce excessive amount of loud noise, including industrial vehicle sources. Many cars produce a lot of noise. People who live near industries, they hear a lot of noise from industries. People who live near airports, there's a lot of noise produced by planes. This noise is very bad because it can or it affects you when you are sleeping, and you may not have a good sleep. Finally, when this happens for a long time, it can lead to different diseases. Another type of pollution we have is water pollution. Toxins from human and industrial wastes are introduced into our water supplies. Let us say sewage from our homes, because within sewage we have toxic substances, sewage from industries, garbage which are poorly disposed can contaminate water. And when they are contaminating water, we expect aquatic organisms like fish to die or suffer from different diseases. Or this can even affect their rate of reproduction, and productivity will be very low. Then we have light pollution. Humans produce excessive amount of artificial light that interferes with natural cycles of light and darkness in the environment. And this can affect nocturnal organisms. Dear students, do you know what we call nocturnal organism? These are organisms which are active at night, like bat. Do you know a bat? Excellent. It's a mammal which is very active at night. So those are different types of pollution. From this diagram, you can see we have what we call air pollution. This air pollution will contaminate our air, which we breathe, and this can lead to different diseases. Like you can see, fumes, gases from different industries can cause pollution. Dust particles can pollute our air. Agricultural practices like using pesticides and fertilizers can pollute air. Then sewage from our homes can pollute air. In addition to that, vehicles and motorcycles also produce exhaust substances which have gases like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, all which are harmful to our environment because they contaminate our air, and that is what we call air pollution. This air pollution is very dangerous because it can lead to respiratory diseases like asthma. It can lead to diseases like lung cancer and bronchitis. In addition to that, when air is polluted, this can lead to destruction of ozone layer, and when ozone layer is destructed, that means we can have direct penetration of light rays which can cause skin disease. Here we can take an example of skin cancer. We also have water pollution. Like if you remember in the photo we have seen at the beginning, we saw young boys and girls fetching water while standing there. They can sometimes swim in that water. We saw men washing a car in water. We saw cows near a lake which can urinate or produce cow dung that can be poorly disposed in water, and all those lead to contamination of water bodies. Like you see here, we have industries, we have homes, we have cars, we have big farms of cows, and we have different machines which produce air. They can produce garbage and sewage, which will contaminate water. And remember, in water, we have different aquatic organisms. When we say aquatic organisms, we mean plants and animals which live in water. Here we can take an example of different plants and algae which live in water, as well as different animals like fish. Those contaminate water bodies, and this is what we call water pollution. So you can see that most of the things contaminating our environment are caused by human, are caused by people. That's why we say that the biggest percentage of water pollution, air pollution, and other types of pollution are caused by human activities. We also have soil pollution. Like you can see, we have pesticides, and these pesticides are used purposely to kill pests which can cause harm to our plants. We have different substances, like the methods we use when we are farming. In addition to that, remember we use also fertilizers, and these penetrate down into the topsoil, can go to ground table, can infiltrate in topsoil and groundwater, and this finally goes to water bodies, as well as going deep into the soil. When these fertilizers go into the soil, pesticides go into the soil, if they are poorly used or we use excessive of them, that leads to soil pollution. And when soil is contaminated, organisms which live in soil are likely to die, and even this will affect productivity of our crops. Then we also have noise pollution. Noise pollution can be caused by different machines. It can be caused by cars, more especially in cities and towns where there are very many vehicles. Then planes also cause noise pollution, and this can affect sleep cycles of people. They may not sleep well, and if people don't sleep well, this affects the physiology of the body, the functioning of the body, and this is what we call noise pollution. Then we also have what we call radioactive pollution. Here, when we talk about radioactive chemicals, we can think of chemicals like uranium, radium, plutonium, americium, and so on. Those are chemicals which can contaminate our environment. Some of them are useful because they are used in industries to produce different materials needed by people. But when they are poorly used or applied, they contaminate our environment. Take an example. In case of nuclear accidents, like we have had different accidents happening in different big industries, that ends up contaminating air, contaminating soil, as well as contaminating water. In addition to that, most of those are minerals which we mine from the soil. So which means if we have poor methods of mining, we expect either air pollution, land pollution, or water pollution. And this affects organisms like plants and animals. Nuclear wastes disposal. The way we dispose these chemicals, if they are poorly disposed, they contaminate our environment. Defensive weapon production. Remember, many countries have army and police, and they have weapons. When they use those weapons poorly or badly, that means there's contamination of environment. Then we also have what we call nuclear explosion. We have seen or had this happening in different countries, and these explosions contaminate our air, they contaminate land, they can also contaminate soil. So those are different methods or different types of pollution which are harmful because they contaminate our environment. Dear students, after following all the steps of this lesson, can we make a quick review of what we have discussed? We defined the term pollution, where we said pollution is contamination of the environment or introduction of harmful substances into the environment. We talked about different types of pollution. Do you remember them? Can we discuss them together? Can we list them down together? Which one do you remember? Excellent. We talked about air pollution, where we have seen that different chemicals, different human activities can contaminate our environment. Dear students, can we make a quick review of what we have talked about today? Excellent. We talked about pollution. We defined the term pollution, where we said that pollution is the contamination of the environment or the introduction of harmful substances which can destroy our environment. From there, we talked about different types of pollution. Do you remember them? Yes, we talked about air pollution, where air in the environment is contaminated by human activities like exhaust fumes from our vehicles, industries and factories, or even sewage and garbage from our homes. We also talked about water pollution. We talked about soil or land pollution. We talked about light pollution, noise pollution, and radioactive pollution. Dear students, as we agreed, you followed all the steps of the lesson. Can I give you homework to test your level of understanding? Here is the homework. Question number 1. Define the term pollution. Question number 2. Explain different forms of pollution common in your home district. Point number 3. Explain different methods which can be used to stop pollution in your home village. Point number 4. In your own words, explain the following types of forms of pollution: air pollution, noise pollution, radioactive pollution, water pollution, and soil pollution. Dear students, I request you to do this homework to test your level of understanding. From this point, allow me thank you for your active participation. Thank you very much for your active participation. I wish you all the best. Stay safe. Bye.